your line in 5, 4.
Good evening. Welcome to the October 15th, 2018 meeting of the Commissions. We'll start with a roll call, please.
Commissioner Cranston. Commissioner McDowell.
Here.
Commissioner Lean.
Here.
Commissioner Tate.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Wood. Commissioner Edinger.
Here.
Commissioner Kennard.
Here. Thank you. We'd like to welcome Jim to our commission for the year. He's our new student representative, and welcome aboard.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. We'll see, first of all, does anyone have a conflict of interest with any of the items on the agenda tonight?
No.
None present, so we're good. Okay, this time we have two sets of minutes, the June 18th and the August 20th minutes that need to be reviewed. Has everyone had an opportunity to look those over?
Move for the approval.
Have a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Both sets of minutes are deemed approved.
Commissioner
Staff?
McDowell, we forgot the pledge.
Oh, I'll back up. Excuse me. Jenny, would you please be so kind as to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, that brings us to staff comments.
Commissioner McDowell, there was one item we were going to move. I don't know if you wanted to do that at the top of the agenda or at the point when the commissioner make comments.
I think we might as well go ahead and address that now. We will modify the agenda. The American Legion agreement will be postponed until next month's meeting.
Giving Legion an opportunity to review that agreement. Thank you. So staff comments. We're in the middle of our blowout. We're about halfway through. We hope to be done before the frost gets too deep. Last year, we were blowing out into the first week of November, and we were blowing slush. So we're hopefully get it done pretty soon. The skate park was a huge, and is, the grand opening was a huge success. The skate park itself is a phenomenal success. I don't know if you had an opportunity to see it and witness all the use. I was out there today, sometime before lunch, and I counted 25 kids out there running either board scooters or even bikes. And so we're welcoming all of those, and it's been a wonderful thing that we've provided for the kids, and they are very appreciative.
I'm hearing the local school district attendance is down, though.
I was wondering about that. I didn't think there was a vacation day today. And then we are working with Judy Ainsworth. We have a third swinging bench. We met with her son Friday and solidified the location just one last time. The swinging bench itself has been fabricated and is at the powder coater. So the guy we met with on Friday is the guy that will pour the footings, and then we'll get that in, again, hopefully within the next 20 or 30 days, depending on how quickly the powder coater can get it done and how quickly we can get the forms built, but most certainly before the snow flies. And then well, I was not going to bring you up to date today on recreation stuff. We've had some basketball registration, but really in relationship to recreation, we're going to show a little slide that's on, a little film here that's on the agenda. So other than that, I'll field any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you. I will comment, we took a walk yesterday afternoon and went through the new section of the park with the skate park and the pickleball courts, and actually we went all the way down to the bridge and looked at some of the new bike paths that are being developed out that way. And boy, I tell you, you couldn't believe, I bet you we had 75, 80 kids on the skateboard park, and they were on scooters, bikes,
I had a
skateboards.
great time, yeah.
The interesting thing for me is with as much use as there was, it was packed.
Right.
There really wasn't any conflict that I could see. And we watched for probably about 10, 15 minutes there, so.
Yeah, I spoke with Nathan Baker about that, and he said they just sort of found this rhythm where they were going counterclockwise, and everybody was given space, and there's enough movement that there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
That's great.
So it was really, really good. And thanks for bringing up that. That's one thing I'd like to point out, too. You know, we've got the new pickleball courts, but I've voiced it a couple of times. I don't know if people really understand. We had those other courts, our futsal court. And a futsal court is played on about the size of a basketball court and is played with a heavier ball. The ball plays a little slower, but it's available to soccer players, obviously, but I know that when my kids were playing club ball, they would use our basketball courts, and they would use NIC. We used to have a futsal tournament occasionally. And so I'm hoping that those folks can start realizing it's there, the nets are up. If you use a real soccer ball, it takes off kind of like a super ball. So you really do want to use the specialized ball, which is deadened and a little heavier and doesn't have quite the bounce as a regular soccer ball. But you could use a regular soccer ball, just play really fast.
Okay. Any other commissioner comments?
Maybe just one more question.
Jim?
Bill, the bike stuff that's going on under 95, have they started on that, the new bike trails? Remind me the names of those.
Right, so we made a presentation to you some months ago, and Chris Bosley's involved in that, and Monty McCulley, and the user group that was involved in that, Mike with Vertical Earth, I forget his last name now, but he's been really helpful in all of that. So we've been providing the dirt and some of the equipment, and Monty's been working with him. So yeah, we're shaping the pump track right now, and we're putting it underneath the bridge. And then, you know, that does tie in with our master plan, our BLM master plan. And so the next piece, when they get that completed, will be what they call the skills course. If you recall, that had more to do with balancing on logs or timbers and hopping from rock to rock, that sort of thing. And so they were going to be somewhat connected so that you could come out of one element and just drop into another. So yeah, it's coming along nicely.
Okay. Thank you.
And from personal observation, I'll just add one thing. There are a large number of loops of trails through the trees just before that, just would be immediately south of the bridge there. And it looks like those were receiving quite a bit of use.
Those are the cyclocross, and that's been used for a few years now. So that's been an ongoing established event or activity that they've been doing. So all three of those elements are going to be tied together.
Yeah, it looks like a great spot for it.
Good.
Any other commissioner comments? Okay. With that, we'll move to public comments. Do we have anybody in the audience that would like to speak? I see none there. So we'll move on to, we have a presentation here, and this is, I think, a real good one for all of the folks that participate in one way or another with any of our youth sports activities. We have a lot of folks that are volunteer coaches and referees that help to officiate these games, and it's not the easiest job for them. And I think there's a lot we all could do to make that a little bit easier, and I think this helps to maybe remind us of that. Bill, I don't know if you have some comments leading in that you'd like to add.
Absolutely, Commissioner. So you're spot on in that we have volunteer coaches, and we have youth and sometimes adults that we pay to officiate games per game. But most of our referees are younger. And so you'll see in this little video here about what those children and young adults are up against when you have a parent who believes that their child, who might be in T-ball, might be getting a scholarship someday. And they get extremely excitable about that scholarship on a particular call. So this is just an opportunity for people to take a deep breath and recognize this is youth sport and it's an introduction to the game. And just be kind to everybody and just don't get too excited. And this gentleman shows some videos of those sorts of activities. And I just thought it would be a good thing. I was once somewhere in a different community when I went to watch a soccer match, and I don't recall exactly how it was worded, but they had stuck in the grass as you walked up to the soccer field, it looked like one of those campaign signs. And it said to parents, something like that. It said to parents, no scholarships will be awarded today. The coaches are volunteers, and the referees are here to have your children have fun. And so it's just a little just a little check in your spirit and your mind about how to behave at these games. And that's what this is about. So enough being said, we'll go ahead and play the video.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
To understand, when you end up on one of my videos, you look like an idiot. Everyone knows you look like an idiot. You know you look like an idiot.
Dude, seriously. You are horrible. Go home.
And what we're doing is we're showing our kids that if we don't get what we want, we throw a fit. This is a kid's game. You guys are acting like children. Let the kids play. My name is Brian Barlow. I'm a grade 7 soccer referee. I get to ref all kinds of semi-pro soccer games, collegiate level games, and I still get to do some highly competitive youth games. I was probably in my 3rd year as a referee, and I was doing a U10 game, and it's a U10 semifinal. And you would have thought, I mean, we were going to celebrate a World Cup victory this day. And both sidelines are just going at it, verbally, and they're trying to out-yell the other side, and the coaches are starting to spar. And I'm in the middle, and I start hearing curse words, and I'm not affected by curse words, but I see the players, and the players are now not just playing soccer, but they're looking over at their parents and their coaches, and it starts to get more and more intense on the sideline. And so I blew the whistle, I looked at everybody, I go, I'm going to abandon the match unless you guys just absolutely decide to be adults and stop yelling at each other. And then someone told me to F off, loudly, and I blew the whistle 3 times. I told the kids, sorry about this, kids, this game's over. I had parents and coaches running after me, yelling me, threatening me. That's when I realized I was either an idiot for becoming a referee or there was a real issue. And I think the answer, I think it's both.
Get the kids, get the kids.
I've seen videos of players coming off the pitch, running after their parents, yelling at them, Dad, Mom, stop it, shut up, Dad, Mom, step away, Dad, Mom, my prom's tomorrow night, I don't want you to go to jail. I've witnessed bench-clearing brawls because of the score of a game and the call or non-call in a match. This is happening every single day at every single sporting event that there is in this country. It's an epidemic, it's a disease. I travel the country and I get to witness and be a part of many, many games with a lot of young referees. The younger games in youth sports are literally the most difficult to ref. Mom and Dad's there, aunts and uncles are there, grandma and grandpas are there.
Let's hear it for the home team, the cheaters.
And they want little Sally and little Sammy to score. And then when it's jeopardized and that moment doesn't look like it's happening, we get angry. And then we have to start blaming somebody. And so now we're asking the referees not just to be a referee and understand how to officiate the game, but now we're asking those referees to be therapists for adults. And so we're asking 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old referees to not just blow the whistle, but to say, hey, I need you to calm down. That's asking a lot for a youth referee who's already in a very intimidated environment. And now we have a youth referee who's walking away thinking, I don't need that $15. I had a buddy send me a video of an incident that happened in Arkansas. A mother on the sideline was not happy with a referee and was making a huge scene. And someone sent me the video. I looked at it and I was completely appalled. And I posted that video and I said, this is absolutely unnecessary. This video should never happen. These incidents, these scenarios should never happen at a youth sporting event. So if you capture video like this and you send it to me and we post it on our Facebook page, I'm gonna give you $100. I started this page kind of as a comedic opportunity to let people know that you sound like idiots out there when you're screaming and yelling at officials. And so I was simply trying to shed light on the fact that youth sports is supposed to be innocent and developmental, and we need parents to stay out of the way.
We will stop this tournament! This is stupid!
The ones where you see the kids getting involved or stepping in the middle of adults face-to-face getting ready to fight each other, those are probably the most disturbing, but they're also the most popular. Then I have this softball video of parents literally laid out on the ground, probably 10 to 15 of them, literally laid out on the ground wrestling. Every week, almost every single day, we continue to get videos of people behaving badly on the sideline of a youth sporting events. Perfect story. I had a lady out of Springfield, Missouri who was captured on video. We posted her video. Her club kicked her and her player off the team because the video was that bad. She called me first with the legal, hey, you know, I'm gonna sue you and this, that, and the other. And I said, okay, great. You know, let me know if I can help in any other way. And then she called me back crying. And she's like, listen, soccer is our life. I've embarrassed my daughter. Is there any way I can get you to take this video down? I will do anything. I decided, you know, I'm gonna help her. I'm not in this to hurt the kids. And I knew that her kid had been hurt. So I made her an advocate to the site. And she now updates me probably every 4 to 5 weeks about her games, how she is an advocate for officials. She gives officials water after the game. I mean, this lady has done a 180 and proud to have done it. So ultimately, that's what I'm after. I'm after that changed behavior cycle of understanding, first off, youth referees are human. Referees and officials in general are human. We are going to make mistakes, and it's not going to kill you to lose a game, but it does kill the game for you to act like an idiot. There are other people that think there's a better solution. There are other people that think that you don't have to shame people on video. Listen, I'm all ears. Do it. You don't have to follow me or the initiative. You don't. In fact, if you have a better idea, do it. All I care about is what are you doing to hold people accountable when they step onto your competitive playing field? Are you setting an expectation? Are you holding them accountable? And then are you resolving the problem when it happens? And if you are, kudos. I'm your biggest fan. If you're not, you need to follow the page, because at the end of the day, we are getting people to talk about it. We are affecting and making people change their behavior. So ultimately, that's the most efficient and effective way to get to where we're trying to go. I've actually had this opportunity to speak to a parent behaving badly. I say to you, if you're so good at foul selection, if you're so great as an official, even though you're sitting down in the shade, drinking your drink, eating your food, not running. You look like you're probably a little bit out of shape as it is, but that's okay. You're the expert. If you think you can do it so much better, I would tell you, go get your license. Go get your badge. Go get your certification. Go show the world how great of an official you are. Because I guarantee you this, when the pressure is on, And when you're in the middle of a highly competitive game, having to make a highly controversial decision, and it's time for you to make that moment where it is detrimental, whether you're right or wrong. People sitting on the sideline.
Well, I think you
Come
get
on,
the gist
and
of it.
put the badge on.
I think we lost our feed, but anyway, I think you get a feeling for what this gentleman's talking about.
Yeah.
And I thought it was important to let everybody see this stuff, because I believe any of us have been on these fields, have heard and seen such behavior. And I just ask everybody, as I said earlier, just take a deep breath, understand it's about being fun for the kids and all about recreation.
You bet. Thank you.
I got a question.
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
I'm a bit stuff like that would happen at my high school. My parents would say that. And that's one of the main reasons why I decided to join a show team. Is because I was tired of feeling coaches told, because I was getting tired of hearing the parents say that our coach is a dummy and he has no idea what he's talking about. That's why I decided to join a show team. That way I wouldn't have to be with the parents and I wouldn't have to hear what they were saying. But that does happen at my high school a lot. When the parents are like, the coach is so dumb, he knows nothing what he's talking about. I know more about basketball than he does. Yeah, that's when the saying goes, if you know so much about basketball, tomorrow, why are you here on the fans? Why are you out there coaching?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, good, thank you. That's excellent.
You bet. Yes, Ron.
Bill, do you have, with your referees and stuff like this, have you had any much problem?
We've been fortunate, not too bad, but Adam was supposed to be here, but he couldn't attend. He has some experience with it, so I was hoping he could be here, but we got our dates mixed up. But yes, a little bit. It's not as severe as some of these occurrences here, but we've had, a few years back, I had to talk to somebody who was an older gentleman who was 40-ish, who was yelling at a 12-year-old girl who was officiating the little soccer players, the mini kickers. And it was, so I know it's out there, as Jim, he relayed his own experience. So we just want to, I guess, nip it in the bud early so that people have an understanding about what the reality of this is. And so our community's been pretty good, but the numbers that they talked about losing referees, that's true too. My kids were referees when they were playing in Sting, and they had some people yelling at them, and it just didn't feel comfortable. I mean, they had parents that they kind of knew were yelling stuff at them, so they just said, I don't want to do this anymore, Dad. And I said, I understand. I get it. So, and that's the problem, is that at some point, if it escalates, the recreation program will begin to diminish, because we will not be able to get volunteer coaches, and we will not be able to get referees, because nobody wants to put themselves in that kind of position. So it's not that bad here yet, Commissioner, but I'm trying to make certain it doesn't get there.
Yeah. Any other comments from any members on the commission? One thing I will add, it's just a matter of, please put it in perspective. These are young children that are there to have fun. And those types of reactions really don't add to that in any way. And I think it's one we can all take stock in and just, like you say, step back, consider where we're at, what we're doing, and act appropriately. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have an agreement with the State Parks and Recreation with regard to our trail out around Silver Beach out there. And so I'll just read the intro to this, and then Bill, if you want to add something, we could. And the question really is, should the Park and Recreation Commission recommend that the City Council approve a memorandum of understanding with the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation for the maintenance of that portion of the public trail and parkway along East Lakeshore Drive from Rutledge Trailhead to the city limits at the South Silver Beach Road?
And so what this was about was that the state parks since 1998 have been maintaining that parkway from Rutledge, which is at Potlatch, all the way out to Higgins Point. We worked out a deal with the Highway District that Tim Martin, our street superintendent, was going to take over everything on that road up to Silver Beach, which about city limits. This portion of that agreement kind of fell through the cracks, and it wasn't addressed in that MOU with the street. So this tightens that up. It's an agreement with the state to continue to do what they've done since 1998 to clean the restrooms, take care of the parking lot trash, and mow that bit of grass that's there where those exercise equipment pieces are, and handle the trail. We do have some financial responsibility in this now that it's ours. So we have to take care of the pump out, which we've done this year for the season. That's a couple times a year. And if there's any occurrences of cost greater than $300, we take care of it. And I don't know, other than vandalism, we might get there. The state parks will continue to take care of the turf grass. That means the sprinkler system. And so they may have some small costs, but if it doesn't exceed $300, they will take care of that for us. So it's fairly simple. Again, they've been doing it for years. When it fell through the cracks, our team picked it up for this year because we couldn't get this here. I was working through a bunch of stuff with them and getting it rewritten. Anyway, here it is today, and that we're just trying to get it cleaned up.
Okay. Any questions? I'd entertain a motion.
I would make a motion that the Park and Recs Commission recommend to the City Council to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation for the maintenance of that portion of the public trail and parkway along East Shore, Coeur d'Alene Drive, Lake Drive, which is within the city limits.
I'd second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. We'll pass that along to the, I believe, General Services and then on to City Council.
Correct.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is the Coeur d'Alene Parasail Agreement. And let me get this here. Basically, and it's just a question as to whether or not we want to recommend that the City Council extend the current parasail and water sports agreement for an additional 4 years. They've made the request and have been a good vendor for us there. And Bill, do you have anything you'd like to add?
So the reason this is before you today is there's a little bit of change in the agreement. Normally, the way it's written is all they do is send us a letter, and we just renew. But there was a little change in the agreement that I thought was important that it was aired. Ben Sr. and his wife, Ruthie Rodriguez, are retiring. They're stepping further and further away from the business. Their boys are on their incorporated business, and the four of them are named in this MOU. And all this does is clean up the fact that Ben Sr. and his wife, Ruthie, want to be removed from that agreement, and it was just the boys that would stay on there. And I say boys, they're young men with families in their early 30s.
Okay.
So they've been running the operation pretty much for some years now, and so it was a family operation. So everything remains the same. It's just the only thing is that Ruth and Ben are having their names removed.
Okay.
I shall move.
Motion for approval? Second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We will pass that on also to the General Services Committee. Okay. With that, I think, boy, are we...
This could be a record.
Yeah. We'll make sure Scott's aware of that.
Yeah.
But before we get there, we do have a couple meetings coming up. We'll have our normal workshop coming up on November 6th at Caruso's at 11:30. And then our next regularly scheduled Park and Recreation Commission meeting will be on Monday, November 19th at 5:30 right here.
Sounds great.
Any other comments? With that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned in exactly 30 minutes.